this sickness in this country now is shot through the whole society. You know, people in law enforcement have also succumbed to right-wing extremism and white nationalism. Again, what this points up is how pervasive and vast a problem this is, and we will be dealing with it for a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, this is one of our altar boys here at the ministry. His name is Little Timmy, and he wants to introduce the next song.
This next song is about the time when I was doing real bad in my life, and I needed the Lord.
Needed the Lord!
And so the Lord, He went through Father Ted here. Father Ted brought me to his office after church, and he laid his hands all over me. And Jesus touched me. Jesus touched me through Father Ted. Father Ted's hands all over me brought me Jesus.
Amen. Now we'll continue to bring you Jesus every time you are a bad boy and you are a naughty boy. This song is called Rickety Bridge.
I said, something's wrong here. Something's really wrong. Can't have happened. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore. As this enormous crowd shows, we have truth and justice on our side. So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania. And we're going to the Capitol. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, we're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. We will never give up. We will never concede. We can take that place. And then what? Take on fight.
Fade that out. And by fade it out, I mean I'm just gonna stop it. That's my band, Bombers Weather. Doing the stuff that we do. That song is called Sons of Sedition. It's a fine little ditty. Essentially, it's a song that got inspired by the events of January 6th. It was written, I think, on January 6th or thereabouts. And yeah, it's a fun little jam. We just released that video not terribly long ago, 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago, something like that. So I'm pretty happy with it. Hi everybody, it's me, Big Ugly Jim. I'm in my basement. Some might say I was going for a change of scenery. Others might say my kids are playing Halo. I can't read. My computer's far away. Yo, Pops. Hey, YYC Live Music. My kiddo, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. I got some coffee. And we're going to chat and stream and do all that stuff. So, normally what I do, I spend my Saturday lunch till around 3-ish. I do whatever commentary I feel like doing. I interact with chat if chat is active. I am a small streamer, Andy, so sometimes chat's not that terribly active. Or even there sometimes, because that's how small a streamer I am. But it's fun and I have a good time. Got an extra bartending shift last night, hung out with Chris for a bit and had a beer at Vern's. Nice, that's a pretty good day. My last night was a lot more boring. I worked on, Bodies of Everest has a new video that we're working on at the same time as recording the next song in our list of stuff. This one is not political. In fact, it's not editing. It's the nice thing about being a instrumental band in the prog/stoner arena is you can just make weird, cool videos out of whatever you want. So this is a song that's entire concept was making a cool groove in 11/8 time. And we nailed it. It's an awesome song. That's some strong coffee. Some strong coffee. That'll keep me awake. Yeah, so anyways, I do have atypically, I don't do a lot of video essays, but I did record one this week that's coming out on Tuesday on the YouTubes, if you're a YouTube user. My decision there was simply to give a whirl with a topic that I figured if I did it live on stream, chat would potentially get me all derailed and I might miss points and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do a video essay. So it's about fascism. It's actually called Fascism is a Warm Blanket, which is a hat tip to the Peanuts comics, which I'm sure Charles Schultz would absolutely hate me for, but he's dead. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking at Umberto Eco's essay, Ur-Fascist, and Ur-Fascism, I can't remember which one it is, and going through the 14 points of what is a fascist, and sort of trying to highlight the idea that a lot of the time we conflate racist and fascist, and while racists can be fascist and fascists can be racist, you can be not a racist and a fascist, and it's an important thing because we keep failing at this when we say to somebody, you know, hey, that's a fascist thing you're saying, and they go, oh, I'm not a racist, therefore it can't be fascism. It's shit like that. So that's the whole point of the video, is just to talk about what is fascism, because I don't think a lot of people really fully understand it. Hopefully it'll be awesome. Hopefully millions and millions of people will watch it, all of whom will be happy with it, and no one will hate mob me. That'd be cool. Either way, I've got a Twitch follower kill if I need it. Yeah, so let's get started. What did I want to start talking about today? Let's look at my list of stuff. Do you want to talk about the fake outrage of the candy wars? Because I feel like that's a thing we could talk about. I'm sure everyone's familiar with. It came to my attention first because of Tucker Carlson talking about how M&M's was changing the look of their drawings that represent the food you put in your mouth, and that he was very offended that they were going woke, which is to say wearing more comfortable shoes. It's not like they had a non-binary M&M that's purple and blue or something like that. Oh no, it's simply, first they come for our candy, then they come for your freedom. Absolutely. It's a genuine threat to society when they redraw a drawing with different shoes. I found it really interesting because Tucker was quite clearly, I see a link, what am I linking on here? Yes, can I pop that open? I want to share that. It's a good image. I'll just copy and paste, which I failed at because my keyboard is a little farther away than I would like it, but that is life, and I will deal with it. Paste, and then switch over here so y'all can see it too. Told he absolutely must wear pants to school. 2-year-old throws extended freedom convoy. Well, we're going to talk about the freedom convoy too. I think that's only fair, given the nature of the world we live in right now. But yeah, Tucker was real upset that he's not going to be able to spank it to badly drawn shoe diagrams anymore. So I thought that was quite clever. And then apparently, this is how empty the culture war crap is, right? All the right-wing talking points about how the leftists are trying to cancel everything and trying to destroy and erode culture because degenerate art is the threat to the Nazi Empire. It's such a bullshit half-assed talking point because it's not a thing. The the fact is, M&M's, or Mars, the parent company, they had a plan. They had a very good plan, and that was to get ahead of some other stuff, kind of important stuff in their mind. Keep them angry and full of adrenaline, use any means, and bend them to your will when you wish. Absolutely. But let's just quickly go to our friend Google, and let's say Mars child slavery. So this is perhaps another way of thinking about this. So this article is from November 3rd, 2021, so just recently. A new lawsuit has been filed against chocolate companies Nestle, Cargill, Hershey, Olam, Mars, Mondelez, and Barry Callebaut over allegations that they benefited from cheap cocoa harvested by forced child labor. This is the latest action in a long battle for justice in U.S. courts. So 8 Malayan citizens who said they were trafficked as children to work on cocoa plantations in Côte d'Ivoire. They allege that the 7 companies formed a venture to allow them to continue benefiting from cheap cocoa harvested by child labor. Côte d'Ivoire produces 40% of the world's cocoa, and a 2020 study by the University of Chicago found that 1.56 million children are harvesting cocoa, primarily in Côte d'Ivoire. I'm probably saying that wrong, but I am not French, and Ghana. Court papers filed last month alleged that the plaintiffs, all of whom were under 16 at the time of their recruitment, were trafficked from Mali and forced to work on cocoa plantations in Côte d'Ivoire that supplied to defendants. So this is what you call a bit of a brouhaha. No one likes it when their corporation gets outed as benefiting from child slavery. That's a bad thing. So what do? Well, the easy answer is distract them. Keep them distracted. So they rebranded M&M's to be more woke, which they're not. And the right-wing media machine goes off, and then the left-wing media machine has to counter go off and be like, hey, it's not a big thing. We're not changing the flavor of your candy. We're changing the picture someone draws of it. And meanwhile, we're not talking about the forced child labor part and the child trafficking, which, of course, we all know child trafficking is the biggest thing that the conservatives want to keep in the media right now, because it's huge Pizzagate. I think it's super fucking clever. And then there was, this isn't candy related, but Minnie Mouse is going to be changing their outfit. I say their because I'm a woke leftist. And because it's a fucking mouse. Minnie Mouse pantsuit. I don't want to see vitriol. So this is from the BBC. Let's just pop over there so we can see it. News you can trust is news you can use. News you can trust is news you can use, and that should make you happy, not give you the blues. All right, Minnie Mouse to swap her dress for a trouser suit, which obviously is because Hillary Clinton, who wears trouser suits quite often, is the unlawful queen of America and forcing her woke agenda on all. The world's most famous female mouse is getting an outfit makeover. Minnie Mouse will be changing into a smart blue pantsuit, swapping out her traditional red polka dot dress while keeping her iconic bow. New look was designed by Stella McCartney to celebrate 30 years of Disneyland's Paris resort, which also means at least 17 people have been to Disneyland in Paris. Despite the change being just a temporary one, it has been met with a mixed reaction online from Disney fans. Minnie will debut the blue tuxedo in Disney's Paris Entertainment Resort from March 2020, where she will wear it in time for Women's History Month. The new take on her signature polka dots makes Minnie Mouse a symbol of progress for a new generation. Walt Disney Films has moved in many years to boost its on-screen diversity, setting films in new locations and casting characters from a wider blah, 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 blah. Anyways, for the record, from what I understand, Minnie is not permanently changing her look. She's just, for International Women's Day, they gave her pants, which obviously makes her a gigantic sellout woke whore. Will Donald Duck finally put on pants? No. Donald's a free baller. and you have to let him free ball. As someone who supports the nudists, I think it's okay that Donald likes to flap in the breeze, as it were. But yeah, this whole thing, like, they make it sound like all of these are snap decisions. Branding is, like, that's a long process. I've been involved in branding projects for companies, and they're things that you decide to do, and you put a lot of effort into, and you come up with a bunch of different things, and then you go with what you think works best. It's just kind of laughable that people think that like any of this is either spur of the moment or not thought out. And in the case of the M&M's rebranding, I personally think this was exactly what they did. They were like, we need to rebrand because this is a good way for us to be in the media and not talking about forced child labor. Thank dog Disney is taking this seriously. I look to them for all my moral and ethical concerns. In return, I'll buy more of their products. And that's exactly it. I know a lot of Christians say, how can you have morality without the Bible? Well, I say, how can you have morality without Disney? Because Disney is the arbiter of what's right. Like, taking a Native American character that had some contentious backstory, ignoring all of the backstory, and drawing her based on Polynesian people. That's a thing that could happen. I probably just made that up, though. Bender, my friend, long time no see. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, it's been ages. Put something in and pass the plate or get out of my pew, sir. Yeah. I don't really understand that reference, but I do want to make sure that I put my change in the plate and pass it. So yeah, I think this is there's a broader conversation about this whole culture war shit and how this is a manipulation. We are being actively manipulated by the crappy people in power. No one should be surprised by this. Doing great. Got a close shift today, so I can hang with you heathens for a hot minute. Oh, nice. It'll be good to have you in the chat, my friend. It's been a while. We thought you might be in Ottawa in your smart car. Okay. I'm not going to bother going into the silliness of the culture war because I think that's fairly well established. But let's talk about the silliness of the convoy. So, first and foremost, if you're watching from somewhere that's not Canada or somewhere that's not got access to the internet, which is kind of weird because I'm on the internet, the convoy, or the was it Flu Trucks Clan as they are often called, lots of people are saying it, is a group of primarily, I think, Albertan truck drivers and their supporters who are going to Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada, to do a big protest. And the big protest they want to do is to ensure that the original statement was that all COVID restrictions are removed immediately, which is hilarious because most of those are provincial and, states' rights, those people love to cry, but not in this case. All COVID rules are removed, and therefore the trucking industry isn't impacted. Because the trucking industry, there is now a mandate that says you can't cross into the U.S. as a truck driver unless you are vaccinated. Now, the numbers are fun. If you actually think about the number of people who are actually in the trucking industry who are unvaccinated is not huge. So this doesn't really affect a lot of people. Not only that, there's long been what am I trying to say? There's long been people who can't drive into the States. I used to work for a company. I was doing some systems analysis and design for a product that never got built, unfortunately, but was for the drug testing industry. And I happen to know a little bit about this as an example. So drug testing in Canada, employment drug testing is actually a violation of your civil rights with the only caveat of a handful of high-risk jobs, safety jobs. And I'm not talking about truck driving. I'm talking about, for example, people who are operating gigantic earth-moving machines in oil oil mines, mining projects or oil sands work and that kind of stuff. And it's very, very uncommon for there to be actual legal reason to have pre-employment drug screening or random drug testing in Canada. One of the exceptions is truck drivers. And it's because truck drivers who want to cross into the United States have to abide by American transportation law, which says that you have to be part of a random drug pooling collective, and you have to be pre-employment screened for drugs. This is not Canadian law, this is American law, but it affects us. That happens all the time. American law can cause, it's if we're dealing internationally, we have to deal with international law. So it's not like, if I couldn't pass a drug test, it doesn't mean I'm going to lose my job as a trucker. It means I can't drive into the States. And there are plenty of people who drive their trucks to the border where they are, they then load up to an American driver who takes it on. This is not a new thing. So really we're talking about there's very few people who are directly impacted by this. I'm not going to say none, and I'm not going to say that it's not frustrating or bad for some people. I get that. If you're anti-vax and you don't want to put the horrible devil's medicine in your body and you blah, 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 fine. Right? The mandate sucks for you. Absolutely. It sucks for the people that I work with who had to deal with it. It sucks for anybody who has to deal with the fact that you're being mandated to do a thing that you don't want to do. You have the choice. You can quit your job and find another one, or you can suck it up and deal with it, whatever those ramifications are. For most of the people, the ramifications are you have to take regular tests of your own or out of your own pocket to prove that you are not sick. That's a thing. In the case of this mandate, I don't think that's even an option because of the nature of your job. You're going across the border, you're interacting with people. They just don't want this to spread. I get that. Tough shit. It sucks. I feel for you. And I actually do. I understand that there are people who genuinely feel like this is a bad thing and they don't want to do it and they don't want their government to tell them what to do. I get that. I don't support you. I don't agree with you. But I get that this is sucky. But it's sucky. Sometimes the world is sucky. But this convoy. Oh, the convoy. First off, 50,000 trucks. And by 50,000, I mean 150 trucks and some SUVs. I mean, I guess it depends on how well you squint. If you really look at it funny, maybe you can see 50,000 trucks. I don't think that's a thing. If there were 50,000 trucks that were driving across the Trans-Canada, I think we'd be in real problems. As it is, it's a super annoying thing. It's a big nuisance. And the idea is they're going to just be annoying until they get their way, because that's what right-wing people do. But it's also worth noting, who is involved? Is this a workers' movement of worker people doing worker things to strike for the worker, for the rights of the working man? No. That may be some of the people that are involved, absolutely. But it's not. That's not who's organizing this. I'm missing a bunch of chat here that I should probably catch up. Corporate Canada is behind the truckers, pays them a fair wage, benefits safe driving, so they only do 18 out of 24 hours a day, well treated. Yeah, truckers get the shit end of the stick, absolutely. And that's worth fighting for. And the 90% of truckers who got vaxxed because they're not assholes, yeah, that's the number I've heard, is 90% of truckers are already vaccinated. Crack bastard truck convoy. Tar Sands Kingston police reports somewhat less than 50,000. I kind of think they'd know. Yep. The math on the length of the distance is nuts. It's over 1,500 kilometers. They're shitting on the streets because no porta potties and the hotels won't have anything to do with them. Not only that, they're also destroying, everywhere they stop for lunch is a place that can't afford to deal with it. Oh, my guy is behind me. I didn't see what happened there. I should probably make the guy not behind my face. Where is my alert box? One sec. And then I'll check and see what that was, and hopefully be like, hey, thanks for whatever thing that just happened. Unless it's a hate rate, in which case, screw you, guy. All right, I'm just going to do that. Doesn't mean anything to you, but it means something to me. I'll be able to read those now. So let me quickly jump over and just see what that was. No Hope for the Nate has hosted. Oh, thanks, Nate. It's good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Screw this freedom rally, though. It has been nice for weeding some people out of my Facebook feed. Yes. And so we're going to talk about the problematic part of it now. The organizers of this particular convoy are not without their own political agendas. So they would be people who are known white supremacists. They are people who co-opted the Yellow Vest movement. Again, this is a common theme. Fascists love to take anything where people are frustrated with the government and co-opt the shit out of that movement and make it about other things than what it is. And we're going to read a Calgary Herald article in a second about that, actually, because it just popped into my head that I read something that was particularly relevant. These are people who are running this, also are part of like the Western Separatist Party. The Maverick Party is what they're calling themselves now. These are all far-right characters who are using and abusing whatever small amount of worker voices they can find to promote their agenda. So let's read this article. Actually, let me just make sure I get caught up here. Yeah, rebel flags, the Dixie flag, Nazi symbols. Yeah, Tamara and Pat. I don't even like saying their names out loud, just in case like Beetlejuice happens and they appear in my world. Okay, one sec. Let me just find this Herald article. I think it was actually in my history from probably yesterday. One sec. It was a really good article. That's why I want to look at it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's not there. Okay, so we're going to go to calgaryherald.com. And speaking of which, I will bump over so y'all can witness the beautiful herald.com webpage. And where was it? This is the one. What the truckers want and why Ottawa can't give it to them. Now, this is an opinion piece. This is that's worth noting. So, the demands of Freedom Convoy 2022 are relatively simple. The immediate reversal of absolutely all extraordinary measures related to COVID-19. No mandatory masking, no vaccine passports, and the reinstatement of every Canadian fired due to their vaccination status. It's a message resonating with thousands of Canadians, but the proposals remain so broadly unpopular and so technically unworkable, given how the truckers are proposing to go about it, that many in Ottawa would likely face political suicide for even considering it. Initial media accounts of the convoy reported that the truckers were protesting a newly introduced federal vaccine mandate on cross-border truckers, but organizers quickly made it clear that they were on a mission to dissolve all COVID-related mandates. No more lockdowns, no forced vaccinations, reads a summary posted on the convoy's official Facebook page on Monday. The post also stressed that Freedom Convoy 2022 was not, because this is not our first Freedom Convoy. I guess that's probably worth. These same people have done this before and with no impact. Was not anti-vaccine, and that many drivers were themselves vaccinated. We simply believe that every Canadian should be free to choose and face no discrimination or restrictions on their freedom due to their choice, it read. Again, I am a smoker. My decision to smoke means that I am discriminated against and restricted. I cannot just willy-nilly whip out a cigarette wherever the fuck I want and have a cigarette. It's a decision that I've made and one that I continue to make because I'm a fucking idiot. But it is a decision that has consequences, kind of like being an anti-vaxxer. In recent days, those goals have seemingly expanded still further. Ontario convoy organizer Jason Lefasse, or something along those lines, recently told TV that this is no longer about the mandate anymore. Rather, it's about our rights and how the government's been manipulating the population and oppressing us all the time. The convoy's goals are not merely a polite suggestion. As soon as the first trucks begin to arrive in the capital on Saturday, the Freedom Convoy's stated plan is to back up traffic throughout Ottawa until they get a response from the federal government. It would only take a few orders in council for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to end vaccination requirements at the border on federally regulated transport and for employees within the civil service. but the lion's share of Canadian COVID restrictions remain a provincial responsibility. Even in Alberta, where Premier Jason Kenney is an outspoken critic of federal COVID policies, the province continues to operate under a latticework of vaccine requirements at public venues. Pushback would be inevitable if Ottawa were to attempt to steamroll provincial mandates. This would particularly be true in Quebec. In recent weeks, Quebec's Premier François Legault has turned his province into one of the most locked-down jurisdictions in North America. Quebec was also one of the first places in the free world to consider a form of mandatory vaccination. For all this, Legault has become one of the country's most popular politicians. According to a recent analysis by Angus Reid, 55% approval rating, blah, 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 blah. All of this jurisdictional red tape might be why, if you ask one of the convoy's principal organizers, a group known as Canada Unity, the best way to end nationwide COVID mandates would be via de facto overthrow of the federal government. A memorandum of understanding posted to the group's websites sets out a framework to effectively dissolve the federal government in favor of a Citizens of Canada committee, and are composed of the Senate, the Governor General, and whoever else the Canada Unity selects. This committee is entirely unelected figures would then instruct all levels of the federal, provincial, territorial, and municipal governments to immediately cease and desist all unconstitutional human rights, discriminatory, and segregated actions. I guess that means we're not going to force Indigenous people to live on reserves anymore. If enacted, the MOU would represent an unprecedented dissolution of the federal system and put an abrupt end to 155 years of continuous parliamentary rule, a record that happened to rank us as one of the world's oldest democracies. There's also good evidence to show that the truckers' demands would be broadly unpopular among the mainstream of Canadian voters. Rightly or wrongly, tightening the screws in the unvaccinated is currently one of the most popular political issues in Canada. So we don't have to keep reading. But I think it's an interesting thing when you go, we're here for the truckers and also to dissolve the Canadian government. I wonder what that seems more like. Let's see what I've missed. What chapped me was them trying to use my people as token human shields. I'm sorry, we don't stand beside white supremacists. Yes, the number, they contacted my friend La Corazon from Bear Clan, and they were like, hey, can you get an elder to come out and, do a smudge on our trucks or whatever the fuck they wanted them to do. Also, they have been engaging with various Indigenous groups, or at least claiming to. I don't know if that's actually happened, but claiming that they get the support of Indigenous people, which is bullshit, because the Indigenous people that I know are all pretty clearly saying, so wait, we protest a pipeline being built through our sacred lands without permission, and you say we should be killed, but you want to drive to Ontario because you don't want to get a needle, and we're supporting you? Fuck that. It baffles me how many people will completely disregard anything about them, mention of these people and at the head of everything, and they'll just go, but there are good people as well, not everyone is a racist. This is actually part of the point of the video that I'm putting out on Tuesday, the video essay I did. We have this unfortunate climate right now where we have fascism growing in Canada, in the United States, everywhere on earth, I imagine. Fascism is on the rise. And when you talk to someone who is not a fascist, who doesn't know that they're standing with fascists, and they go, yeah, but I'm not a fascist, so this isn't fascist. They don't understand what they're talking about. Reading that article clearly outlines this is a group of fascists doing a fascismally. But there's lots of people who just can't see that because they're unaware of what fascism really is. When they hear fascism, they think racism. And there's a world of difference. Yes, you can be a racist fascist, but you don't have to be. Guilt by association does still exist, right? I remember an orange Oompa Loompa saying something similar a while back. Yes, Proud Boys, stay vigilant. Fight with me. I'll never get how someone can so willingly ignore a person's character just because they think they have their best interest at heart. That's part of fascism. Fascism, the whole concept of selective populism is that the leaders of the fascist movement understand the will of the people. Whether or not they actually understand the will of the people is irrelevant. They believe they understand the will of the people. So these guys are sure that every single Canadian is either a filthy Antifa or is totally opposed to COVID restrictions. There's no in between, And so they just go, well, yeah, obviously, if you're not with us, you're against us. Another key component of fascism. And on and on and on and on. I'll fight for your right to blow smoke in my face. Can't believe you put up with it. Sounds like socialism to me, Jim. God bless him. I would happily blow smoke not in your face, because I'm a good smoker. I'm one of the good ones. Wait, the same people that would show up at to counter protest the rural Alberta stuff were done going to ask Indigenous communities for their support. Where the hell were those people during the pipeline protest? Oh, right, on the other side, telling everyone to fuck off so they could have their oil. And also threatening violence against protesters. They don't support protest. They support their protest. They don't support freedom. They support their freedom. This is exactly what the fascists do. I'm not sure I understand your point, Jim. I don't care whether a racist points out they're not fascist. They're still racist. Who cares? Fuck them. Yes, I agree. My point is that when you are someone who is not a racist and probably not even a fascist, probably someone who may be directly or indirectly impacted by the actual mandate, and you go like, I'm standing with these people, and someone goes, but those people are all Nazis, and you go, but I'm not a Nazi. It's that whole attitude that we have, and you look at groups that will say, yeah, we're, you call us not a fascist, but I have a black friend. This is the thing. It doesn't matter if you have a black friend, you can still be a fascist. That is my point. I still remember when we asked for solidarity on July 1st for the bodies being found, or how about when my people blocked the road for the pipeline and an each group of truckers coined all lives splatter. And you want our voice? Get fucked. Absolutely. That is, it's completely appalling to me that these same people who actively, these are people that show up at any Black Lives Matter, Indigenous Lives Matter protest screaming about Antifa. And then they're like, hey, people who we've been shitty to, do us a solid. I'm sure we'll do one for you. I'm sure we will. Confusing racists with fascists and vice versa. What's the problem? Fuck them both. Absolutely fuck them both. So you're saying that if they stand with fascists, it doesn't matter, they're making an excuse. I think it's important to recognize the fact that fascists are infiltrating all manner of groups. Workers groups, anti-vaccine groups, anything they can infiltrate. Anything where there's frustration, you'll find a fascist. And so people may very well not be fascists, may very well be opposed to fascism, and just not have a clue who the fuck they're standing next to. And when you say that person's a fascist, they go, no, they're not, because they don't understand what fascism is. That's my point. They should stand apart from their Nazis and racists, and should support their cause, not tolerate the assholes. I fucking agree. A friend of mine on the Facebooks was posting a bunch of supporting the convoy stuff, and I didn't want to comment. I was like, because there's a contentious nature to our relationship. And then it turns out that they found out that Pat was involved in this and went on the convoy page and was like, dude, like, I support this movement, but we have to distance ourselves from this prick. And all of the people in the thing were like, you're Antifa, you're just here to undermine the movement. Because that's how they think. It's a corporate mentality of us versus them. And yeah, people allow them to infiltrate because they don't speak out. I totally agree. That is why, in the punk rock world, we punch Nazis. They're not allowed at our venues. They're not allowed in our world. Because otherwise they'll be there. We can't just be like, hey guy, would you mind not being here? Okay? That's a thing. They choose to be naive or ignorant. I have no problem painting them all with the same brush. If you're not willing to distance, you're a fucking sympathizer. Agreed, absolutely. And when you point out to somebody who they're standing next to, most of the time, I think that they have hard time believing that anything that, because they're not racist, they're not bad. How could the person next to them be supporting the same thing and be all of those things? And therein lies the problem. Please punch Nazis for me. Okay, I will. People being willfully ignorant to all this has been very distressing. Appeasement never works. Appeasement doesn't work. Appeasement is a super big problem. I was actually going to talk about the Ukraine and a debate I saw that was all about appeasement. Not going to do that right now. because I think we're on a bit of a roll and an interesting one. So yeah, the convoy, whatever the origins, who knows how it started. And if the origins were to defend the poor workers who are being forced to be vaccinated, I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. But once you hit the point where you've got known white supremacists and known Alberta separatist rat-wing fascists standing next to you, posting stuff about dissolving the federal government, maybe it's time to go, is this the movement for me? This is what happened with the Yellow Vest movement in Alberta, right? It started off, the Yellow Vest movement in France was going on, and people were like, that's so good, stand up for the workers. And the workers are angry at the government, and the Nazis know that anger for the government is their fucking cheese. So they were like, yeah, we're right there with you. Let's all get yellow vests and do protests and freak out about stuff. And also we'll use all sorts of racial slurs, and we'll talk about globalists, and we'll talk about the leftist elites and all that shit. This is how they do. This is every fucking time. If there is a movement that is anti-government, the Nazis want in. Because they can whisper in the ears of the people and change minds and make people see their side. Ukraine, I crane, we all crane. I'm losing it. I need coffee. Ukraine? I do a crane kick. A fancy fucking crane kick. I learned from the Karate Kid himself. Coffee's the glue that binds us. Yes, coffee. Thank fuck for coffee. I have CTV's news channel on just for shits and giggles. I'm slowly losing it myself. What's going on CTV News? Are they talking about this? Russia, Ukraine. Russia, Ukraine. I understand. I'm following. I just got called obese and retarded because I wore a mask outside. Oh, kiddo, I'm sorry about that. That's so fucking ridiculous. Like, you know what? If you want to be the person who thinks that your freedoms are way more important than the safety and welfare of others, I don't support you, but fine. But when someone's like, I get glowered at for wearing a mask in places where I'm supposed to wear a mask, and I'm just like, glower away, motherfucker. But yeah, that behavior is so fucking puerile and childish. I hate that shit. I use an illegal kick to the face to take down Pat, just like Daniel LaRusso. That I would love to watch that happen. Just like, whoosh. They have a live feed of the protest. Freedom douches downtown. Hope I'm able to get home later. Yeah, good luck if you happen to be someone who lives near these fucking dillhole marching grounds, because they're conflict. And that's the other thing. They're supposedly worried about the supply chain and about making sure that we get all of the foods that are coming into America, either produced in America or shipped to America and then delivered to Canada via trucks. But their solution is what? To blockade a big border city. Okay, that'll help. Sorry to hear that. I just got into it last weekend trying to get off work, and I'm not looking forward to getting there today as well. Yeah, man. They're just fucking down there hounding people. Just like complete assholes. Bender, stay safe. YYC Live Music, stay safe. Shit is so fucking over. I just don't understand. At this point, I was talking with someone last night, and I said, at this point, if you are even vaccine hesitant, it just means that you haven't been paying attention, right? The math is pretty fucking clear on this. It's a good decision to get vaccinated. It just makes sense. You can throw up veers and go, oh, tens of millions of people have died for the vaccine. First off, you're lying. Second off, veers doesn't even say that. Third off, you're lying. And fourth off, no, those numbers aren't real. You are a complete wank job. That's just how this is. I got vaccine hesitancy in the beginning. I didn't get it, like I didn't have it. But I understood people being concerned because the anti-vax movement, I've dealt with this. My ex-wife was an anti-vaxxer. She's vaccinated for COVID. But I've been around the anti-vax movement a time or two. I know how they go, and I know how fucking genuinely difficult they can be, and how convincing they can be. They can certainly throw out a lot of big sounding words that they read in a how to talk to non-anti-vaxxers And it's, like, I get it. People were flooding Facebook with all sorts of information going, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Have you seen this? And a lot of people were like, I don't know what to think. And especially when they start trotting out these people who were supposedly experts, who were doctors, and who had, doctorates that were unrelated or were discredited in their field. Those kinds of things don't shape the thought of the people sharing the information. Dr. Andrew Wakefield is the best example of that. Wakefield has been discredited. His paper that proved autism and mercury were related, and therefore vaccines, totally discredited, and he lost his ability to call himself a doctor as a result. But he's not looked at as being a buffoon. He's a goddamn superhero. He's a martyr to the cause, or at least, professionally a martyr. It's just how these people fucking do. You cannot argue with dumb. The rest of us have to take this wall of garbage from them and the wall of information from others, and we try and balance it all out and figure out where the hell things are. I was talking with someone, again, last night. I was talking with someone, and they brought up the fact that, the story has changed a few times with regards to the vaccine. And I was like, it really hasn't. We knew we needed a vaccine. We developed a vaccine. Yeah, we did it quickly. That's probably actually a good thing given the circumstances. We did not know in the beginning if we would need 1 dose, 2 dose, however many doses. We didn't know because we didn't have the data. Turns out, people got vaccinated. The data started to come in after a few months of people being vaccinated. We saw that, okay, your antigen levels are going down after a little while. So we need to get a second dose. And the second dose seemed to be doing good. And then all of a sudden they're like, 3rd dose. And everyone's like, they're changing the rules. They promised us that it'd only ever be 2. No, they fucking didn't. They didn't promise that at all. They promised us that we could get a second vaccination. That was the end of promises. You sent me a video on Facebook. Well, let's take an eyeball. What is this a video of? Just so I am aware. No. You didn't send me a video on Facebook. Oh, it's loading. Okay. Well, we'll come back to that in a second. Is this the Freedom Hogs? Freedoming? Hang on. Where the fuck is pause? I hate Facebook. I hate everything about it. Except Zuckerberg. He's so cool. Alright, let's pop over to a view where you guys can see what I'm doing. And I probably have to click unmute site as well. Yeah, okay, so let's see.
The best part of this, all these Canadian flags, I mean,
Dragging on the ground.
These assholes fucking anti-commie. You can't wave the Canadian flag around if you're protesting. If you're wanting to be a patriot, you fuckwads. The best...
I don't think these are people that understand what patriotism is. Here's the thing. I personally believe that being actively, zealously progressive is patriotic, because the idea is you want to continue to improve. That's just that. When you are a patriot and your job is to knock down indigenous people or force people to do as you say, that's not patriotism. That's actually dictatorial in nature. It's authoritarian in nature. A patriot is someone who sees their country as being a thing that can do good and can do better. The desire to do better is patriotic. The desire to regress, not so much. Because what are we regressing to? Are we regressing to before the Indian Act? Are we regressing to when there was residential schooling? Are we regressing to when black people didn't have as many rights as white people? what is the best time? What is the best time? The answer to what is the best time is so far now. Hopefully, it just gets better so that one day people will be like, can you believe Jim on YouTube said now was the best time? What a dick. I was raised with the ideology that we are to leave things better off for the future generations. Yeah, it's, you know, the Boy Scouts, right? You clean up your campsite even cleaner than it was when you got there. The idea is always to try and do better, to take the directions that we've gone in the past and find even new and better ways to do things. That's good. Dominus Prime. Hey, it's nice to have you. Long time no see. It's been quite a while. Hey, there's one of my children. Let me guess, you want a cigarette?
No, could I steal some bus fare off you? I have to go out.
You have to go out right now.
Yeah, Caleb is meeting me at the station.
What station?
Saddleton.
I don't care. Yes, let me stop what I'm doing so that I can email money transfer you some money.
Could I also steal some smokes off you?
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, Internet. I'm just going to take a moment here because my child doesn't understand that I'm doing things. How many would you like?
3.
There's 2. And 3. Now let me email transfer you money. You're not annoying me at all. I'm such a proud dad. This isn't a conversation that could have happened, you know, before. And there. And there. And submit. That was awesome. I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. Thought I was already following you. Well, I don't think you were, but now you are, and that's even cooler. It's good to see you, my friend. You called it on this one. This is the thing. Like the other night, I was actually like falling asleep, and you know my lights are off, my head is turned towards the wall, and he just woke me up to bum cigarette, like just 0 fucks to give. Remember to breathe, Jim. This is a very important time for a smoke and some cash. Been there. I get it, but like, get a fucking job. Such a good dad. From your other son, I'm sorry about that. It's fine. It's fine. What can I say? My needs, my desires are secondary. And I'm kidding when I say that, but I'm not kidding when I say that because I'm a father. I have to be able to put my stuff secondary to my children, and there's nothing wrong with that. That said, that was entirely annoying. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, huh? Hey, forget about it. Yeah. So, this is the thing that I find so annoying about the whole convoy thing is I support workers. I want workers to be able to have a safe, healthy work environment. Nothing about this convoy is about doing that. And the more that their message has evolved over time to the point where they're talking about the dissolving of the Canadian government and implementing their homies as the new kings, that's probably not okay. That's probably a little bit sussy. Maybe I'm weird. Maybe I don't understand the wild, wild world, but I feel like that's just not good faith. It's not good faith. You know what? It's time for me to take a pause. Speaking of being a horrible, horrible smoker, I'm going to put on some of my shitty music that I make because it's fun. And I will be back in like 7 minutes or so. Do I have my thing open? I do. And I'm going to press play. Oh, for fuck's sake, my audio device needs to change. Fine, I'll change my audio device to wave out. Retry, and everything is fine. All right, I will return shortly. And I'll put the sign up on my face. There we go. BRB LOL. have returned. Let me get rid of the thing on my face. And stop the music. Yeah, that's fun little music. I enjoy that. Entirely made with computers because I am a nerd. Been really enjoying music lately. Like that's been it's always been a huge part of my life, but lately I've been enjoying the fact that Bodies of Everest is just, we just finished our first video. We're working on our second now. We're taking a weird approach to the whole thing. Like essentially what we do is we pick a song and then we record all on our own individually, come up with our parts, and then add in all the extra little bits and pieces. So for example, there's a part in a song that I want to add in with me playing some upright bass, because why wouldn't I? And then we can just use those as samples when we're live on stage. And then we take all that, hand it to a guy we know who does the mastering. And meanwhile, we're also working on doing up the music videos. So that process is undergoing for the next one. It probably won't be terribly long until we're ready to release that one. And then the next one's in the hopper already, and we're already talking through storyboard ideas for it. So yeah, it's a cool process. Instead of like going and renting studio time and trying to, record 6 songs, get an album, and then start working on a video or whatever, we're going exactly the opposite direction. But the internet lets us do that, and that's pretty fucking cool. So what did I miss in chat while I was out, if anything? You guys are so good. Oh no, that's not Bodies of Everest. Bodies of Everest actually sounds more like this. That's what Bodies of Everest sounds like. And I really love being in that band. It's like the best thing. I've seen the video a few times. Right on. I'm glad you enjoy it. That's awesome. It's also the thing I've done that has had like the most success. It's like nothing success, but we're over 800 views on the video. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube Music and all that kind of stuff. Like I've never done that shit before. I've released albums, and I've done music videos, but never like really had any traction. So it's kind of cool to see. I'm the same small streamer Andy, but in music format. But it's cool to get the song out there and have people. Someone disliked it on YouTube. That made me giggle. Obviously, somebody was very offended at the idea that we would make a video involving Donald Trump that wasn't just super glorifying the grand orange skull. But whatever. Everyone's gonna have their own vibe. So what do we want to talk? Do we want to keep talking about the convoy? Do we want to talk about other stuff? I can move on if you want. Let's talk about the Ukraine. I don't have a whole lot I'm going to say about it. I'm not a foreign policy expert by any stretch. You know what? There was one thing I wanted to do that was kind of related. I want to see, because I got asked a question last night that I didn't have a good answer to. And then I, in the conversation, found that I knew even less than I thought I knew. So, where's my fucking tab? God damn it, seriously, where's my... There. Am I doing stuff? Is things working? Yeah, things are working. Okay. So I want to actually go to Google, and I want to type in, why polio vaccine last a lifetime? I don't think it actually does last a lifetime, but it's the thing that... Yeah, so someone actually... Cedars-Sinai, reputable organization, why some vaccines last a lifetime and others don't. So the way this came about, obviously, I was having a conversation, and the person I was talking to, we were talking about, like, why do we need to re-up the vaccine? And the answer is because our antibodies or whatever, we lose their potency as time goes by. Have you heard any more of just how close to the supposed 50,000 trucks? The last number I heard from Kingston was... Hang on, let's see if I can find that real quick, because that was a funny... It was meme. I saw it on Facebook, so we'll jump on Facebook. I'm super sketched out about doing Facebook stuff live, because exactly that just happened. Kingston police. There was like a yeah, so here from the Kingston police convoy update. Can I zoom in? As of 9:35 a.m., all roads have reopened and all trucks and passenger vehicles have departed YGK, which would be Kingston, and are now eastbound on Highway 401. Our count, 17 full tractor trailers, 104 tractors with no trailers, 424 passenger vehicles, and 6 RVs. Obviously, 50,000 is a pretty close guess. Pretty close. So it's maybe not quite the thing that they claim that it is, but we'll see. Anyway, so I'm having this conversation, and it was around, like, you know, why does certain vaccines last longer than others? And I didn't have a good answer. And I do know that polio vaccine doesn't last a lifetime, or at least I've heard that there are people who are very, very old who are suddenly developing polio. I don't know if that's true or not. It was a thing that someone said in passing, and it's interesting because the idea being that eventually that vaccine wore off and maybe they got polio. Ever wonder why some shots last a lifetime while other vaccines need a booster dose a few months or years later? We're advised to get a tetanus shot every 10 years. Shingrix needs a booster 2 to 6 months after the first jab. Hep A and B vaccine come in a 2-dose series administered over 6 months. Why is that? Inquiring minds want to know, especially because... Who the fuck is writing for Cedars-Sinai? Oh my god. Inquiring minds want to know, especially because the COVID-19 pandemic has brought vaccines to the forefront of daily news and conversations. Blah, blah, blah. All vaccines trigger immunity, but how long it lasts depends on several factors. One of them is the rate at which a virus replicates, says Hai Tran, Associate Director of Cedars-Sinai's Pharmacy Services. If a virus replicates quickly, it has a chance to produce more mutations, also known as variants. The more variants emerge, the harder it is to make a vaccine that will create lasting immunity because the target keeps moving, she explains, which makes sense in the COVID sense. Ethan Smith, a pharmacist at Cedars-Sinai, agrees. If a virus is stable, that gives us a big advantage. Measles is an example of a stable virus that is unlikely to replicate, so scientists could predict that immunity would last a long time, which it does. Smallpox and polio, highly contagious viruses that were almost eradicated through vaccination, are also stable with low mutation rates. Viruses that replicate fast and mutate a lot, like influenza, pose a challenge for vaccine makers. Every year there are multiple new strains of flu, which is why you should get a flu shot every year, says Hai. This season's flu vaccine offers protection against 4 different strains, but next year there will likely be new ones. And then there's the B and T factor. It's also difficult to measure how strong somebody's immunity is over time. This is the thing where people are like, well, I have natural immunity, so I don't need the vaccine. Or do you? Counting antibodies doesn't give you a full picture of how well you're protected because vaccines also train B cells and T cells, says Ethan, who serves as Cedars-Sinai's manager for drug use policy. When confronted by a known enemy, memory B cells quickly deploy new antibodies to stop infection, while killer T cells clean up where antibodies failed eliminating infected cells. For many diseases, experts believe antibodies are the key protective mechanism, but B and T cells may be even more important for other pathogens, including tuberculosis, malaria, and HIV. While less famous than antibodies, they play a big role in making immunity last. Despite that advantage, most COVID-19 vaccines require 2 doses, as do many other shots, including virtually all childhood immunizations. When scientists are developing a new vaccine, they do preliminary studies to get an idea of how many doses may be needed, says Ethan. They measure how many antibodies are produced from one shot and how much protection you might get from a second dose. If researchers decide that one dose does give enough protection and that a second dose doesn't significantly improve things, they'll develop it as a one-dose vaccine. With the COVID-19 pandemic, time was of the essence, so the vaccines were brought to market once it was clear they were safe and effective. But as scientists monitor the shots over a longer period, they can determine how often booster shot doses may be needed. The Johnson & Johnson shot was developed as a one-dose vaccine, but as time goes on, we see that it may work even better with a booster. The vaccines could also be adapted to fight new variants as they continue to emerge. The mRNA technology used in Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna may offer more flexibility than previous technologies, says Ethan. Scientists are discussing how to use existing mRNA platforms and quickly adapt it to mutations so that your immunity stays primed to fight infection over your lifetime. So that makes sense, that it was a question of mutation, but also there's other factors, this whole T-cell, B-cell stuff. And I don't pretend to be an expert, so please don't quote me on that. The police are lying. I have 2 eyes, therefore I don't need glasses. I have 2 feet, therefore I don't need shoes. I have natural scent, therefore I don't need underarm deodorant. My musk is intoxicating. You know, and I gotta say, I've always found the smell of my own armpits to be not that terrible. I'm sure that other people disagree, but my musk is good musk. I wouldn't wear it as a cologne. I don't think that's a good look. But, you know, I do all right. So yeah, I just thought that'd be interesting to look at, because I didn't have an answer. I assumed it was about mutation, but I didn't really, you know, when posed, I could say, I think it's this, but I don't have an actual answer that is definitive. So now I do. Yay, me. Way to go. We learning. Ode to Ugg Jimbo. You know, I used to work for a company. It was the company that my ex-wife owned that I consult through, and it was called Ugg Bigley Soft. I always thought that was pretty fucking awesome, because its sole purpose was to whore me out to companies. So, Ugg Bigley Soft. That company doesn't exist anymore. I have a new company with an even cooler name, but I won't tell it to you. Ode to Bonest in West Calgary is popular. Yes, the general smell. I would go more with Inglewood, or no. Where is it? Renfrew, where the Molson plant used to be, Ogden, somewhere in that area, in that kind of Ogden Renfrew kind of area. The smell there, always just on point. I was born in it. I was molded by it. Absolutely. This, and you know, I feel bad for anyone who's from the city of Coaldale. You drive through Coaldale, and like as soon as you get close, you're like, oh, that's what the inside of an animal's rectum smells like. Well, I was driving there one day with my buddy Dongo, and we were making jokes the whole way, like, you know, it's nice to meet you, sir. I'm here to date your daughter. Oh, don't try and shake my hand, boy. Give that sumbitch a tug. You know, that kind of stuff. Hey, we've received 100 messages today with Restream Chat. Woohoo! What about Brooks? Brooks is another. Pretty much any, like, small towns that have agrarian industry in the area are always going to have some funk. I remember being in Salmon Arm. I think it was Salmon Arm. Visiting my, we were still married at the time, my then wife's adoptive mom. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. Gorgeous. Sun was shining. We're in the backyard. And then the wind changed. And all we got was the smell of shit. Who's got the funk? We got the funk. You fucking bet we do. We got all kinds of good funk. Lay down that funk. I'm the funk master. Yeah. That's the sign of being a rhombus male, too. I don't know if you know this. But Grand Funk, yeah, that's the railroad road that I only take. Whenever I do travel by rail, it's always Grand Funk Railroad. It's also one of my favorite strains to be chatting with Bob. Is there a Grand Funk a weed strain? Of course there is. I as soon as I say it, I'm like, of course there is. All rhombus belong to us. Absolutely. Rhombus males, and I know my chat is full of rhombus males. Not sigmas, not alphas, not betas. We're rhombi. And we're the best kind. The best kind. Rhombus males can do anything and can be anyone and can talk to girls. That's what a rhombus do. Funkmaster by Shred. I'm so bad at the weed game, man. Like, I bought weed probably a month ago. I still have, like, I bought an eighth. I still have, like, half of it, because I just don't smoke that much weed. It's not a thing. Rhombus knows there are 4 sides to every argument, but they're not always the same. Wait, rhombus is always the same, isn't it? They just have different angles. I was thinking parallelogram for a sec. Fuck those parallelogram people. Fuck them. Look at me. No. Shit, now I can't remember what a rhombus. Let's find out what a rhombus looks like, because I can't not for the life of me remember. Rhombus. I put phombus. Rhombus. In plain Euclidean. We'll bring up the Wikipedia, just so we can all enjoy the rhombusing. We dare not speak of parallelogram. In plain Euclidean geometry, a rhombus, plural rhombi or rhombuses, is a quadrilateral whose four sides are the same length. Now the name is equilateral quadrilateral. Obviously, that's the one that I would want to put on a shirt. Since equilateral means that all sides are equal in length, the rhombus is often called a diamond, after the diamond suit in playing cards, which resembles the protection of an octahedral diamond on a lozenge. Though the former sometimes refers specifically to a rhombus with a 60-degree angle, which some authors call a calisson after the French suite. See also polyamond. And the latter sometimes refers specifically to a rhombus with a 45-degree angle. I'm not here to tell you what angle you need to be. I don't think that's what rhombuses need. I think, us rhombuses, we choose our own angle. We're fucking rhombuses. Do as we do. You know what I'm saying? You're either rhombus or you're not. Euclidean. Oh, clits. I've seen them before. Next, you'll tell me pick how many sides. I ain't no dodecahedron. Mr. Jim, can you teach us about stoichiometry next? Like gravimetric stoichiometry? I cannot. The reason I know gravimetric stoichiometry is because I took Chem 1020 in high school. And I made it through organic chemistry, the organic chemistry unit, and then I hit stoichiometry, and I don't even remember what stoichiometry is. I just know that was the wall. I was like, fuck this, I'm taking biology. A fellow chem nerd. Oh, I am not a chem nerd. I am so chem bad. It's not even funny. Cross-hummocky stratification leads to damnation. Chem was far my favorite side. I really enjoyed biology. I liked the labs in chemistry. But biology was so much more interesting to me. I remember, my Bio 30 class, me and a buddy sat in the back room. We invented a drink named the anal sphincter because we were talking about the excretory system. And my teacher thought we were just fucking idiots. And then we did the brain dissection lab, and we, fully dissected our brain in, moments. And we were just fascinated by it. Not in a gruesome, check it out kind of way, but, it was really interesting, and having it in the hand and looking at it was so cool. She actually gave us an extra brain to play with. So that's kind of cool. I enjoyed biology. The beginning biology stuff where you're dissecting earthworms and shit, boring as all fuck. Even frogs, boring. And as as an adult, I feel like maybe cutting apart animals isn't the best way to do stuff when we can learn now through better methods, but it was cool as shit. It was fun to get my fingers in and see the insides of stuff. I don't want to sound too much like what's his face, the serial killer dude, Dahmer. I want to sound like Dahmer. I wasn't getting downstairs happy times, but it was just really cool. Now I have to clean up the coffee I shot out of my nose. Yeah, it's a hazard, man. It's a real problem. Biology was the one I never took. I dropped Physics 30. Who can learn physics at 9 a.m.? Not I. I never even tried physics. So as an adult, when I lost my faith and became interested in skepticism and all that kind of stuff, one of the things I did was I was like, oh, maybe I need to understand physics better. And I bought some things, I bought 6 simple things that, from Dr. Richard Feynman that you understand this, you'll understand physics. And I was like, cool. And I opened it up and I was like, I don't understand a goddamn word here. I still have the book, but I've never finished reading it because it's all words that don't mean words. They're just things. Biology was one. Yeah, okay. I didn't. That was a dupe. I loved learning science. Some aspects of it were really lousy. Teaching grade 8 kids earth science is the dumbest shit you can do because grade 8 kids are not prepared to be bored by science, and earth science is fucking boring. Wrecked him. Damn near killed him. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the recipe for the anal sphincter. It was a shot. And literally, so we're sitting in biology class, and me and my buddy John Allen, and we're giggling because we're fucking teenage boys, and we're talking about the excretory system. And then we were like, something. There's a drink in this. And like 5 seconds later, the teacher said anal sphincter. We're like, okay. What would be an anal sphincter? And the original idea was, so you would take a shot glass, you would pour a quarter tequila, a quarter Parfait Amore, or Blue Curacao, however you are used to thinking of it, a quarter Kahlua, and a quarter Bailey's. And the idea was that you would have this browny, whitey, congealing mass in the middle with this like bluish, transparent fluid with a bad smell. It was supposed to be awful. And it was just a joke. We weren't ever going to drink this. And then we're out one day. We told the story to a few friends. We're out at this bar, and we're drunk, because that's what you do when you're 18. And the bartender comes over to get our order, or the server, sorry. And my buddy Ryan goes, "Round of anal sphincters." And we're like, "Oh shit, dude, no." And the server's like, "What now?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, it's easy. Take 4 shot glasses, and they're a quarter," and he gives the recipe. And they made them, and they put them in front of us, and we're all like, huh. And it didn't look anything like we thought it would. It just became like a single color, interesting looking thing. And we did the shot, and they were fucking delicious. They were fucking delicious. So it became a thing that we would do anal sphincters all the time. Rounds of anal sphincters were just our jam. And that was the one bar that we would get them at. It was a place called One-Eyed Jack's, which no longer exists. And it was super fun. And every time someone new would come with us, we're like, "You don't know what an anal sphincter is? Bartender," that kind of shit. And to the point, like the drink itself is actually quite pretty when you make it. One time, the guy who owned that bar like came out with a flashlight because he knew that this whole story now, and he like did the pouring of the drink in such a way that like little shimmering pieces of like the Kahlua and the Baileys were like raining down inside the glass. It was fucking gorgeous. He brought out a flashlight and held it above so we could see his incredible work. It was super cool. Fuck, that's twice. What, James Webb Telescope? I don't know what that means, but I'm a little scared to understand. Used to play darts at One-Eyed Jack's. Yeah. Jack's was, I used to, like, I grew up just 5 minutes away from there, so I used to go hang out there and hang out with Ron and Bonnie and all that, and then they moved to Crowfoot and became Diamond Jack's, and it was no longer a place that I went. It just wasn't the same. Anal sphincters at One-Eyed Jack's works at so many levels. Yes, it does. And it was a good time. Those were my halcyon days, right? Like we used to, I would always fight to go to One-Eyed Jack's. The other bar nearby was varyingly named The Crow, Bugaboo Creek, La Jolla. It was the same bar, and it was like a douchey dance club for kids that went to my high school. And my friends all wanted to go there because there was a much higher chance of getting laid there. And I was so beta at the time. It was long before I became a rhombus. And I used to just I was the guy that would watch purses while my friends would go and dance with random girls and be like, "So, want to have the sex later? No? Okay." Fuck. Got a split. Oh, take care. Moving back to Calgary in a week. Oh, right on, Thomas. We'll have to catch up and have a beer one of these days. Thanks for joining the stream. It was a pleasure having you here. Yeah, I was still in high school when I was 18 because I took an extra year of high school. And I was taking psychology class in high school when I was 18. And I was presented, they had the Alcoholics Anonymous people show up. And they were like, here's the questions that you need to ask. And if you answer yes to one of these questions, then you have a drinking problem. And if you answer yes to 2 or more, you're an alcoholic. And I was like, oh, well, I'll fucking nail this test. 0 out of 10. And I answered yes to like 4.5 is how I phrased it. There was one that was like, yeah, kinda. And I had this whole like, oh my God, I must be an alcoholic. This is terrible. And so I did the thing where I like stopped drinking. And then, 6 months went by. And then I was like, and I'd still go to the bar. I'd still go with my friends and stuff, but I would just drink Coke or whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I want to find out if I can drink. Because, you hear all the stories about powerless over alcohol and all this kind of stuff. And I had a drink and I was like, oh, that's no big deal. I can have one and not worry about it. And yeah, so that was dumb. I eventually learned that simple answers to complex questions are bullshit. And that's why I hate, or one of many reasons why I hate Alcoholics Anonymous. Although if it works for a person, I support it. But yeah, I would not go down that road. Not a fan. Shit, we've been rambling pretty good here. Rambling away. I never did talk about the Ukraine. So I was watching this debate this morning. And it was, I hate the overall God reliance name. Yeah, that's one of my primary reasons for despising them is, and they do that simpering like, well, it's not necessarily God. It could be that your God is like a toaster, and all you have to do is be like, oh, it's the toaster that's my God, and then it all works, and you're like, really? So I recognize that I have to give all my personal autonomy up to a fucking toaster? That seems legit, like a way to quit drinking? No. AA was invented by people who were looking for creating a pipeline for Jesus. So fuck that. Praise the toaster. Praise his holy brown name. Make that toast. And it's a miracle he put the bread in and the toast came out. Where did the bread go? God damn. The miracle of the heat and the time. So the Ukraine, like I said, I was watching this video. It was a debate. Dylan Burns had Hippy Dippy Championship, and these people were all talking about the whole Ukraine thing. And the question that they were wrangling was, does America have a moral obligation to the Ukraine to support them in this whole Russia business? And it was interesting to me the number of of course everyone on the right was like, no, we don't have a moral obligation. We need, small government, get out of everywhere. We just left a war. And everyone on the left was like, no, we have a moral obligation. And it's actually an important thing that we do this. And I felt like no one really had a viable answer to that because they were all missing the obvious thing. So this isn't the first time that Putin has done something like this. He invaded Georgia, and that was brought up, the invasion of Georgia. He invaded the Ukraine, a couple years ago. This is just in the Crimea thing. This is just like the next step. And all I keep thinking is like, you know what, if we just give him Alsace-Lorraine, it'll be fine. Because that is what is going on, is he is expanding Russia, and in a very similar fashion to what Hitler was doing. And I'm not going, oh my God, Putin is Hitler, although there's some very strong resemblances. But the idea of appeasement does not work. When you just give Hitler what he wants, things don't get better. Putin, we appeased him on Crimea. We appeased him on Georgia. I guess we didn't really appease him on Georgia. Again, I'm not an expert in all these things, but we're certainly, I think it's safe to say that appeasement with Putin hasn't stopped him. Realistically, he would keep going. And in the middle of this debate, this one person who is a right person, but, says that they're not like super duper right, they were like, think about World War II. It's, like if America had just sort of sat back and allowed Russia and Germany to like duke it out, all that kind of stuff, then, whoever's left standing, America can go in and just like, and win the battle. And then they save all those lives. And I'm like, that is terrible. Because that's essentially, it's being a pussy. It's being a giant fucking weak-ass namby-pamby because you're not willing to get involved. Second off, I don't think that she was aware that the reason America started in on the war was that whole Pearl Harbor. They actually attacked America, declared war, all that stuff. I mean, that was probably you can't just be like, yeah, you attacked us, but it probably won't happen again. How many Pearl Harbors are there, right? Am I right? And realistically, first off, Russia was still our buddy at that time. So leaving them to just do the fighting and then showing up to beat them up seems a little bit sussy. And I guess they weren't really our friend at that point, but kind of like they were. It was in the transition where when the Russians started gobbling up all of Eastern Europe, and we were like, hey, that's a little weird. I don't like that. There's a argument to be made in historical spheres that says that the reason that they dropped particularly the second bomb, the one on I believe Nagasaki was the second one. The reason they dropped the second bomb was a message to Stalin that said, you know what, you can carve the fuck out of Eastern Europe all you want, but you stay the fuck out of the Pacific Rim. I don't know if that's valid or not. It was just a thing that I heard in a contemporary history class way back in college 6 months ago when I was still young. But anyways, this person's like, you know, this would be the right way to go. It's just wait to see how it all works out and then just come in and beat up the winner kind of thing. And I was like, that's so fucking weird. In my mind, I do think that there is a reason to stand firm against. There's a lot of talk about that being fact. And this is the thing. I don't think we actually have an answer on whether that's true or not. But certainly, it's one of the leading arguments about why the second bomb was dropped. Another one was to hurry up the surrender of the Japanese, which I don't think holds as much merit. And another one was to prove that America, this wasn't a one and done. This wasn't a fluke. They actually had this technology and could do it more than once. That one I think also probably weighs into the overall conversation. Because really, I mean, Nagasaki was meaningless as a, like, there was no reason to do that. The Japanese were already surrendering. The war was already coming to an end in a very natural sense. And it literally, you know, historians go, what the fuck was that, bruh? For good reason. So, my take on the morality. First off, I do, from what I have seen, my speculation is that Mr. Putin is indeed a tyrannical autocrat and probably a fascist. I do not like him. I do not trust him. Yeah, little column A, little column B, or C, definitely not B. So, I think he is a fascist. At the very least, he is a totalitarian powerhouse, but I think he ticks all the boxes for fascism. Again, I'm no foreign policy guy. I don't understand the geopolitical situation in Russia. I'm just the dude with bad hair talking on the internet. But he seems fashy. And I feel like there comes a point where you have to be like, no, dude, we're going to not allow this to happen. His argument that, you know, the growth of NATO and all this kind of stuff, to me seems like kind of a unimportant argument. Again, I don't know shit about shit, but it just seems like, you know, looking for an excuse to do that. And let's just say that you're angry at America, and this is not a point that I made. I think this was, I saw Vosh talking about this. I could be wrong, but, you know, let's just say that you're angry about the expansion of NATO, so therefore you go to a non-NATO country and invade it. That's a little bit of a strange cause and effect, don't you think? But the reality is, we can't allow appeasement to happen. I'm not a war hawk. I'm not a believer in war as a general rule. But I think if we've learned one thing in the last bunch of years that Putin's been in power, dude ain't gonna stop. He's not interested in just taking his liberties and then being like, yep, cool, this is Russia now. The only thing that concerns me with the Russian-Ukraine thing is their most extreme nationalism and how strong those ideologies are accepted within the populace of both countries. That can only lead nowhere good, in my humble opinion. Yes, I totally agree. I feel like ideologically Russia is going down like the fascist communism arc, which is a weird thing to say. It feels very much like there's this sort of, we must return to our glorious days of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics when we were strong and powerful, and it's very, very similar to a lot of the patriot talk in the U.S. and in Canada. The Make America Great Again, the old stock Canadians, take Canada back, all that kind of shit. Those are our populist talking points, and populist movements are not often very cool. Not a big fan of the populism. I'm a big fan of doing what's right, or at least trying your best to do what's right. We'll never really be able to know the long-term ramifications. It's the old argument, like, would you go back in time and kill Hitler? Well, if you kill Hitler, you stop the Third Reich. Do you? Probably not. You probably stop Hitler being the guy running the Third Reich. But I don't think that he invented the whole thing out of whole cloth and just was like, bam, we have a fascism. And if you just took Hitler out, then you would not have that. But there's the whole question of the butterfly effect. What ripples in the future would we not be able to know about? It's impossible to know. So I don't pretend like we can have an answer to any of these questions in the short term and be like, well, if we do this, then this will be better or worse. But we do what's best. Ultranationalism, Christian nationalism are definitely things I wish to eradicate swiftly now. Big time. Bender, do you ever watch, there's a YouTube channel called Fundy Fridays? Highly recommend it. It's super, super fun content. Basically, this woman named Jen does her makeup while talking about Christian fundamentalist groups. And I often enjoy quite heartily. Just a side note, not directly related to the Ukraine. Anyways, I feel like we have, it may not be like a question of a moral necessity so much as it is a thing that we need to do to stand firm and be like, no, bro, you go live in your little Russia, and that's fine, but you can't just take over the world, Napoleon, you little fuck. We're not gonna allow that, because I feel like not checking him is just encouraging him, and I don't see that going well for the people that he's trampling on. Fact is, the fascist autocrat pieces of shit can be your neighbors and family. I'm nihilisming. I understand the nihilisming. Fortunately, I can say that my family are not the fascists, but they could be. You never know. My cup is half fucked. Yeah, Bender, definitely check out Fundy Fridays. It's a really good stream. I giggle a lot. One of the ones that I watched recently that I really enjoyed was what's the name of the group? I can't think of it. They call themselves The Family. They were a Christian sect that was like, hey, let's be like hippies and stuff, but also, rapey and child abusey and horrible in every possible way. Because, WWJD, it's weird, especially in the 60s, how many of those, like, super religious cults to pop up, and they're like, oh, we're all about free love for children. Ew, not a good look. Anyway, so, Ukraine, pulling back to that point, Ukraine probably needs our help. At the very least, needs us to sort of, be their big brother in their back pocket going like, no, you can't just do what you want. You're going to have to fuck right back off. And do I think that will lead to a world war? No, I do not. I'm pretty sure that in the nuclear age, world war isn't a thing. And if it is a thing, well, that'll be quick. But Putin doesn't want a world war. Putin wants to flex his dick. And that's what he's doing right now, is he's flexing his dick. He's doing a little like, Marie, Marie. And do we let him do it? I don't think we do. There was comments in the debate about this is just American imperialism. I'm like, not really. If American imperialism would be accurate if, like, the Ukraine said, you know, America, please help us. And we were like, we absolutely will. And I'm using the royal we now as if I was an American. And America, like, rolled the tanks into the Ukraine and we're like, we'll fight you off. And then they were like, welcome to the 51st state of Ukraine. Goddamn. That would be a fine example of imperialism or even colonization. But all we're doing is, like, I'm at the playground going, yeah, that's my big brother and he doesn't want you picking on me. Dear Vladimir, put a helmet on that soldier and jerk it off. Right? I firmly believe that we don't need to tell Vladimir Putin to wank it. I have a vibe like he's got some fucking skeletons. That's what will happen to Canada eventually. You mean the American tanks rolling in? I don't think so. It's certainly not impossible, but we're so, and I think this is the big thing, is we're so economically tied to the U.S. and so culturally tied to the U.S. They don't need to take us over. We're kind of one and the same. It's the same thing. Like, you know, China doesn't have the military might of the U.S. It doesn't spend as much money on military as the U.S. It has like I think like 8 military bases worldwide or something, like, you know, not on Chinese territory. Like, they don't care about their military because they know that their economic power is way more important in the modern world. Kenny will invite them in. 30 million pissed off Canadians in your house. Wah! And it's, you know, 30 million pissed off Canadians using the math of the convoy. That's a good half dozen Canadians. I actually giggle a lot when people talk about the separation argument, especially when they're like, you know, BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, maybe even Manitoba, and I'm just like, did anyone ask BC if they want to be in a fucking province with us? I don't feel like, or a country with us. I don't feel like if they had a choice, they'd be like, no, we're good, because we're the ones that keep putting pipelines through their land. And I'm not just talking about, like, indigenous land there. I'm talking about, you know, the city of Vancouver. Now, you know, Trans Mountain is going to be doing pipeline expansion in the city of Vancouver. And they're not happy about that. The Vancouverites, very, very frustrated. The amount of increased shipping that will happen in the Gulf of Vancouver. I don't know what the fuck it's called. Maybe it's False Creek. I don't know. Wherever the fuck they're doing it. That is not something that the Vancouverites are happy about, and they see it as Alberta forcing us to do this. I don't feel like they want to be a part of our little reindeer games. And interestingly enough, if we did separate, and we became an independent, let's just say Alberta, Saskatchewan, completely separate. Maybe even we take Montana with us, whatever the fuck. We're a landlocked landmass. We're a landlocked country. And United Nations law says that our neighbors legally have to give us basically access to tidewater because of the potential to be strangled out. So that's like a whole weird, wild kind of thing. 30 million. Oh yeah, we're still there. I'm rereading stuff, thinking I'm missing stuff, because I'm old, and that's what old people do. Anyways, the whole thing with the separation argument is just like silly. Canada is a good country. It's not a perfect country, and you can be very angry about the Justin Trudeau. I'm not a big Trudeau fan. I'm not even a big Jagmeet Singh fan. I would much rather have an actual progressive voice in some of these positions. But you take what you get. It's a democracy, much to the chagrin of those who want to dissolve the government and invent their own citizens' coalition to run things. That's not weird. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck the convoy. And fuck all white supremacists. Oh, gotta pee. Not gonna go yet. I like to hold it. I like to savor it. What else was I gonna chat about today? I had other stuff. And we talked about the moral outrage over candy. Talked about the Ukraine and Russia. Oh, here's a quick little thing that I kind of alluded to this in the past, but I wanted to go a little bit further. Oh wait, I see chat's doing things. Jugmeat, I'm an influencer. See the comfy rocking chair they gave me to advertise. Saying I trust this NDP guy. Jugmeat is a poser and a fool. Rich bitch pig. I don't think that I would call him a poser and a fool. I would say that, more than meets the eye. I feel like he's probably the most progressive option that's available to us, or realistically available to us. But I don't have any faith that Jugmeat will usher in the new era of social democracy and all will shine down upon us. I feel like he's not Tommy Douglas. He's the guy with the talking points that best align with what I see the world doing, but I don't they really don't align, and I also feel like they're talking points. That said, I think CERB largely is thanks to him, which was a huge benefit, not just in terms of maintaining the economy while COVID was starting, but also acting as a really good national view of UBI, which we're just gonna have to fucking deal with, because as we start to automate more and more, we're gonna need a UBI. You can't get rid of all the jobs and then just not have an answer to that. Where's the support of truckers? The party of labor? I would say honestly, the best support for truckers right now, it probably is the NDP. But that's weak at best. Probably the best thing that they can do right now is to make sure their union is strong. Because I don't feel like any of our parties are representing the working class at all. I feel like the liberals they're just not even a good joke. They're just a joke. Right? Justin Trudeau has done absolutely nothing for anyone. And I feel confident in saying I was hopeful, but guardedly hopeful when he first got elected. And the more I saw, very quickly, it became obvious that, the posturing is strong, and that's all we're going to get. I loved when he was on TV, and, why is half your cabinet women? Because it's 20 whatever the fuck. Great answer, but clearly posturing. Clearly, to the virtue signal. Jagmeet Singh, I feel like, he's gotten a lot of progressive things pushed through, or as progressive as we've got. One of the comments that was made on that same debate I was talking about actually was quite interesting. One of the guys debating, I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he's from Hungary, and he was talking about, you Americans think that you have leftists, but you don't. Your farthest left Bernie Sanders types are middle of the road for Europe. Europe is so much more socialist than America, and by extension Canada. Our provincial NDP, who are supposedly radical socialists, are enacting the same kind of rules as the progressive conservatives under Lougheed. We're really not very left. We're in some ways socially left, but not really. I will say this: during the pandemic, I've been glad to be under a Trudeau Canada and not a Trump America. Hell yeah, and even I would say a Biden America. Biden has done them no fucking solid. The lack of support for the workers in the U.S. is even so much worse than what we've got here. 100% agree. Trump was probably the single worst choice you could have made, next to like an actual on fire baby as president. Trump was the worst choice to have in place during a pandemic. I'm no fan of Obama. I'm no fan of Biden, but either one of them would have been better. But realistically, like, Biden has accomplished nothing. He literally has just stumbled on every step, and it's kind of pathetic. Add to that the fact that he hasn't brought in any kind of support for people. He hasn't dealt with the eviction crisis properly. Like, the workers in the U.S. are in a real world of hurt that I will gladly take what we have here in a heartbeat. Like, CERB was necessary and was very quickly done, and they erred on the side of it's better to make mistakes and give too many people money than leave some people out in the cold. I think that was phenomenal, and I think that should be the model that we accept as a go-forward stance, that everybody should have a certain level of income, not just a minimum wage, but a certain level of income that includes expendable income, because the money spent, especially the money at the bottom that is regularly circulating, is where your economic power comes from. It's where movement happens. Rich people take money, they put it in bank, they never fucking touch it. They let it accrue interest. Poor people take money and they buy shit, and they pay for people's salaries, and they pay for businesses to have their expenses covered and all that kind of stuff. Like, the mobility of money at the bottom, way more important. I may not have voted for this PM and don't intend to, but fuck, am I glad we had some competence in our federal leadership. Provincial, not so much. Yeah, province has been a fucking nightmare. And I personally, I put a lot of the success that we've had more on the NDP than on the Liberals, because the Liberals have had to play ball with the NDP, and I feel like the NDP have pushed them further than they would have liked to have gone otherwise. But again, whatever the case is, we wound up here with a fairly decent social safety net that was taking care of Canadians in ways the U.S. has not done. 100% agree that model would actually help the overall economy and people's standard of living. Not only that, people can actually look for work that fulfills them rather than what pays the bills. At least they could have played to the conservative base. Yes. Yes, actually, to all of that. I totally agree. Playing to the conservative base would have been, I think, would have made the Liberal Party look a lot weaker, because the Conservatives would have been very quick to throw it in their faces and make a big public display out of Justin Trudeau can't get anything done without us, the real people, and that would have been, I think, a real problem for him. The NDP was a much safer bet politically and optically to work with, but Justin Trudeau is no progressive. He just wears the progressive blackface or whatever you want to call it. In terms of, like, yeah, UBI is just going to be a fucking fact. If we continue to automate and we continue to have our bosses expect us to work, do the jobs of 17 people until they can find robots that'll do the jobs of those 17 people, eventually there will come a point where there's a need for people to have guaranteed income that isn't, and I would say we're there, honestly. Guaranteed income is just a smart move and economically beneficial, and at the same time beneficial to the health and welfare of all Canadians. So what the fuck? He's a true centrist. No, an ounce of progressive can be found in him. Not an ounce. Fuck. Yeah, he's definitely. And you know what? Like, that's what the Liberal Party has been, essentially a centrist party for so long. I totally agree. Gotta get ready for work. I'm hearing I might have issues getting there because freedom. It's been a slice, cool cats. Catch you on the flip side. Bender, you take care, my friend. Always a pleasure. I hope you're doing well. I hope you get to work safe, sound, and unmolested by the freedom hordes. Yeah, not happening. They'll just let us die poor. The thing is that eventually there will come a point where they can't let us die poor because they won't have anywhere to bury us anymore. So there has to be some. I also don't put any faith in any of our political parties taking the necessary steps. Like, if it was up to me, I would nationalize a bunch of businesses. I know that's totally like commie talk, but I would absolutely nationalize a bunch of businesses, and especially when they're doing things like asking for bailouts and shit. I'd be like, oh, here's $100 million, and now we own you, or we own a good chunk of you, whatever however the valuation works, and using that to bolster and the coffers. Because if it's just fucking Bezos and Elon Muskrat that have the fucking money, they would let us all die. Absolutely. Eventually, you have to appease to allow your rule or government to continue. You can't kill off all those people that would allow you to live in the standing. You do, and that's the thing. It's a weird and frustrating scenario, but ultimately, no matter what, if you want to have humans, you have to make sure they have food. If it was up to me, I would say that food is a human right. Someone sent me an image. Let me see if I can pop this open, because I think this is actually pretty interesting. Where was that now? I think it was under here. And I'm going to copy the link, and we'll open it up in the browser, which would be somewhere here-ish. Where the fuck? There we go. Where I was looking at rhombuses. All right. Fade over. So UN to make food a right. The right to adequate food is realized when every man, woman, and child, alone or in community with others, has physical and economic access at all times to adequate food or means for its procurement. And this map of the world is, the gray is not a UN member state. The blue is in favor, 106 countries. 5 didn't vote, and 2 were against. What were the against? Oh, look, America! And I can't even see where the other one is, so it's probably like a tiny place somewhere. Okay, I really have to go pee. Really, really have to go pee. So I'm gonna take a smoke break and also go pee while I'm doing it. And where's my goddamn thingy? There we go. There we go. once again, I am back. Take the thing off my face. And good. Let's see. I see there was chat stuff. America loves freedom. You know, the funny thing is, I seriously doubt any of us really gets what freedom is anymore. You know, when we lose our shit about vaccine mandates, that's not a we're not freedoming. Got our own service for Rob Bayless. Rob Bayless. I used to work with Rob. Well, my condolences. I am Canadian. I think I used to work. He passed last week. I did not even hear that. Well, that's unfortunate. I hope you're doing all right, my friend. Yeah. Thanks for joining the stream. Always a pleasure. And yeah, that's a bummer. I'm running out of coffee, which means pretty soon I'm gonna start singing. That's a thing. Shit. Yeah. I didn't hear about Rob. That sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I used to work with Rob, and I didn't know that he died. That's a bummer. I keep saying that over and over again. You know what? I'm gonna switch to the weekly humiliations, and we're gonna do some karaoke, and you can laugh at me because this will be terrible. I have curated a couple of songs. If you have a song that you want me to horribly butcher, then I suggest leaving it in the comments. And you can also make fun of me for how bad this goes, because it will go badly. Quite intentionally. I feel like part of the fun in karaoke is making fun of myself doing karaoke. My buddy DJ Temple just actually had a birthday. And we're going to start with Fugazi, and then we're going to do some Pour Some Sugar on Me. But my buddy had a birthday, and I was involved in a video where I sang that Toy Story song, You Got a Friend in Me. That was fun. So yeah, I'm gonna do Waiting Room by Fugazi, and then Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard, which is, I have no idea if I can sing either of these songs, if they're in my range. So this could be entirely awful, but I do this every week as just like the end of the stream, kind of as a fun thing. If there's a song you want me to sing, chances are, if I know it, I'll do it. So just put it in the chat. What am I doing? There we go. Okay, Waiting Room, Fugazi. I haven't even listened to the song in ages. I do love the hook in this song, though. Know where I come in. I think it's next. I am a patient boy. I wait. My time's water than a drain. Everybody's moving. Please don't leave me to remain in the waiting room. I don't want the news. I can't use it. I don't want the news. I want to live it, sitting outside of town. Everybody's always down because they can't get up. Come on and get up. Come on and get up. Coming in again now. But I won't sit idly by. I'm planning a big surprise. I'm gonna fight for what I wanna be. and I won't make the same mistake, 'cause I know how much time wastes. Function is the key. Inside the waiting room, I don't want the news. I don't want the news. Sitting outside of town, everybody's always down because they can't get up. Come on and get up from the waiting room. This is why Bodies of Everest doesn't have a vocalist. Sitting, oh, wrong, early. Sitting in the waiting room. Sitting in the waiting room. In the waiting room. Sitting in the waiting room. Because they can't get up. Alright, that wasn't awful. Nothing in chat. Y'all are relying on me to come up with karaoke songs, and I mean that's a choice. Oop, what did I just do? There we go. Pour Some Sugar on Me. Def Leppard. I saw this live in concert when I was a kid. The metal horns. Woo! Oh shit. Why do I not? There was supposed to be like, oh, I somehow hit mute. Okay, we're gonna start that again. Because there's like a note ahead of time, I hope. We'll find out. Step inside, oh step inside. You and me, babe. You and me, babe. Hey, hey! Okay, that wasn't the best intro, but whatever.
Love is like a bomb, baby, come and get it on. Living like a lover with a radar phone. Looking like a tramp, like a video vamp. Demolition woman, can I be your man? Razzle and the dazzle in the flash of little light. Television lover, baby, go all night. Sometime, anytime, sugar me sweet. Little Miss Addison, sugar me, yeah. Yeah, come on, take the bottle, shake it up, break the bubble, break it up, pour, oh shit, ooh, in the name of love, come on, fire me up. Can't get enough. I'm hot, sticky sweet, from my head to my feet, yeah.
What's got 7 arms and can't play? Def Leppard.
Listen, red light, yellow light, green light, go. Crazy little woman in a one-man show. Mirror queen, mannequin, rhythm of love. Sweet dream, saccharine, loosen up. Loosen up. You gotta squeeze a little, tease a little more. Easy operator coming knocking on my door. Sometime, anytime, sugar me sweet. Little Miss Innocent, sugar me, yeah. Yeah, give me a little more. Take the bottle, shake it up, break the bubble, break it up, pour some sugar on me. Ooh, in the name of love. Come on, fire me up. Ooh, I can't get enough. I'm hot, sticky sweet, from my head to my feet, yeah.
Ooh, here's the sexual innuendo.
This week from my head to my feet. You take sugar, one lump or two. Take the bottle, shake it up, break it up. Ooh, in the name of love. Ooh, come on, fire me up. Ooh, I can't get enough. In the name of love. Yeah, baby, come get it. Ooh, yeah, sugar me.
Good old innuendo. All right, I'm not quite ready to be done karaokeing, and I had a thought because of how fucking awful those lyrics are. So I'm gonna do the song that I love best with the worst lyrics ever. True men don't kill coyotes. Just sing it along. Do they have a karaoke? Lyrics video. Oh, come on. They have an instrumental. Oh, there's no way I could do that. Looks like we're not gonna get the True Men Don't Kill Coyotes. That's a sad day. What should I do, Nate? Let's look for just in general. Ooh, we'll do Californication. It's nowhere near Californication. It's nowhere near as nonsensical, but it is pretty nonsensical. And it's cheese. And yeah, Nate, feel free to pick another one. And I guarantee you this song is not in my range.
Psychic spies from China try to steal your mind's elation. Little girls from Sweden dream of silver screen quotations. And if you want these kind of dreams, it's Californication.
I don't know, I've had Canadian Idiot by Weird Al stuck in my head during... Okay, I could sing that.
It's the edge of the world and all of Western civilization. The sun may rise in the east, at least it's settled in the final location. It's understood that Hollywood sells Californication. Pay your surgeon very well, break the spell of aging. Celebrities swing, is this your chin, or is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn.
What the fuck are these lyrics?
Hardcore softcore. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Marry me, girl, be my fairy to the world, be my very own consolation. A teenage bride with a baby inside, getting high on information. Buy me a star on the boulevard, it's Californication. Space may be the final frontier, but it's laid in a Hollywood basement. Cobain, can you hear the Spears singing songs off station to station? Alderon's not far away, it's Californication.
Man in the Box, Alice in Chains. I have to think about, do I know that song? I could try it.
Born and raised by those who praise control of population. Everybody's been there, and I don't mean on vacation. Firstborn unicorn. hardcore soft porn. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Dream of Californication. Jesus, this song just goes on and on, doesn't it? How much longer is this? Oh, fuck that. It's like another 2 minutes. Alright, let's see if we can find what was the song? Man in the Box. Man in the Box. I'll see if I know it. I honestly have no idea. You know, I know the song, I just don't know the song well enough to sing it. So let's see if we can find Canadian Idiot. Ah, we got that one. I don't even know if I know this song. But we'll find out. Don't wanna, oh shit. Don't wanna be a Canadian idiot. Don't wanna be some bitch willing hockey nut. And do I look like some frostbitten hose head? I never learned my alphabet from A to Z. Whatever. They all live on donuts and moose meat, and they leave the house with a pack and heat. Never ever bring the guns to the mall. I don't know this song at all. And you know who else is too funny? That stupid Monopoly money. Can't take him seriously at all. I don't know this tune. We'll figure it out. Well, maple syrup and snow's what they export. They treat curling just like it's a real sport. They think their silly accent is so cute. Can't understand if they're talking Naboo. Sure, they got the national healthcare, cheaper meds, low crime rates. Then again, well, they've got Celine Dion. Eat their weight in Kraft macaroni and dream of driving a Zamboni all over Saskatchewan. Trying. Don't wanna be a Canadian idiot. We'll figure out their temperature in Celsius. See them out there hovering right over us. Tell you the truth, it makes me kinda nervous. Always hear the same kind of story. But the noise and they say the story. Tell me what kind of freaks are that life. I gotta mean they're all up to something. So quick to see it coming. Time for a preemptive strike. But that made me want to do another Weird Al song. So let's just see what our options are. Amish Paradise. Oh, that's such a good song, but I don't feel like I can do it justice. Eat It, eBay, White and Nerdy, Foil, Yoda. Let's do Like a Surgeon. Because I know that I will not be able to sing this at all. Okay. Good old Weird Al. I love Weird Al. Is this playing or what's going on here? It's playing. Did I mute things? No? Finally made it through med school. Somehow I made it through. I'm just an intern, I still make a mistake or two. I was last in my class, barely passed at the institute. Now I'm trying to avoid, yeah, I'm trying to avoid a malpractice suit. Hey, like a surgeon, cutting for the very first time. Like a surgeon, organ transplants, on my line. Better give me all your Gosners. This patient's moving fast. Complications have set in. Don't know how long it'll last. Let me see that IV. Here we go. Time to operate. I'll pull his insides out. Pull his insides out, and we'll see what he ate. Like a surgeon, hey, cutting for the very first time. Like a surgeon, here's a waiver for you to sign. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a fact, I'm a quack. The disgrace of the AMA, 'cause my patients died. Yeah, my patients died before they can pay. Like a surgeon, cutting for the very first time. Like a surgeon, got your kidneys on my mind. Like a surgeon, ooh, like a surgeon. When I reach inside my scalpel and my forceps and retractors, oh. Baby, yeah, I can hear your heartbeat for the very last time. Okay, that wasn't completely horrible. You know what? I want to take a stab at Amish Paradise. Then I'll probably call it a day and do some Amish Paradise. This isn't about range. This is about skill. Dueno can't watch this as no. Check that in a second. As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain. But that's just perfect for an Amish like me. You know I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning I'm milking cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens and Jacob plows. Fool, I've been milking and planning so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land, I'm into discipline. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But I finish up with yours, and you can finish thine. Then tonight we're going to party like it's 1699. And spend most our lives living in an Amish paradise. I've churned powder once or twice, living in an Amish paradise. It's hard work and sacrifice, living in an Amish paradise. We sell quilts at discount price, living in an Amish paradise. A local boy kicked me in the butt last week. I just smiled at him and turned the other cheek. I really don't care, in fact I wish him well, 'cause I'll be laughing my head off when he's burning in hell. But I never punched a tourist, even if he deserves it. An Amish with a tood, you know that's unheard of. I never wear buttons, but I got a cool hat, and my homies agree that I look really good in black. If you come to visit, you'll be bored to tears. We haven't even paid the phone bill in 300 years, but we ain't really quaint, so please don't stare. We're just technologically impaired. There's no phone, no lights, no motor car, not a single luxury. Like Robinson Crusoe, it's primitive as can be. We've been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. We're just plain and simple minds living in an Amish paradise. There's no time for sin and vice, living in an Amish paradise. We don't fight, we all play nice, living in an Amish paradise. Hitching up the buggy, turning lots of butter. Raise a barn on Monday, soon I'll raise another. Think you're really righteous?
think you're pure at heart, but I know I'm a million times as humble as thou art. I'm the pious guy a little Amish wanna be like, on my knees day and night, scoring points for the afterlife. So don't be vain and don't be whiny, or else, my brother, I might have to evil on your hiney. Been spending most our lives living in an Amish paradise. We're all crazy Mennonites living in an Amish paradise. There's no cops or traffic lights living in an Amish paradise. But you'd probably think it bites living in an Amish paradise. Yuck. Can't watch this. Okay, we'll see if we can find... Can't watch this. And then I will call it. No. Was that Weird Al? I think it must be. As the music video. Yeah, this is the music video. Okay. Last chance. One song to rule them all. One song to find them. One song to bring them all. And in the darkness bind them. What's I sing? Oh, let's go super cheesy. I'm gonna see if they have the theme song to View to a Kill. They do. Little Duran Duran to close out the show. I haven't listened to this in fucking forever. And it won't be in my range because Duran Duran is probably going to be an octave down. Meeting you with a view to a kill. There we go. Face to face in sacred places. Feel the chill. Oh, I do not remember this. Oh, this is terrible. Nightfall covers me, but you know the plans I'm making still oversee. Could it be the whole world opening wide? A sacred wine, a mystery gaping inside. The weekend's wide until we dance into the fire. Little kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire to fatal sounds of broken dreams. Dance into the fire. The fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire. Choice for you is the view to a kill. Oh, that's wrong, kill. Between the shades, assassination. I don't know the tune here. Still. These crystal tears fall snowflakes on your body. First time in years to drench your skin with lover's rosy stain. A chance to find the phoenix for the flame. A chance to die. Again we dance into the fire. A fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire.
The fatal sounds of broken dreams. Dance into the fire. That fatal kiss is all we need. Dance into the fire when all we see is the view to a kill.
Okay. Done enough damage. We'll let the song play out, obviously. For those that are still watching, you see my friend No Hope for the Nate there in our chat. Give him a follow on Twitch. No Hope for the Nate is fantastic. My friend Nate plays in a band called No Hope for the Lost. Also runs the Canada's local band Smokeout, which is fucking awesome. They play clips of a bunch of local bands, and people get to vote on who gets to be the superhero winner of the world. And just support the shit out of Nate because he's awesome. Solid job. Thank you, Nate. And me, I think I'm about done. So I'm gonna bid you all a fare thee well, and go rest my luscious pipes so that I can karaoke again next week. All right, you guys take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you again.